Well, here we are again, folks. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. So proud to be with you today. We're back in our office setting. It's done got cool and chilly here where we live, and we've got the heat going this morning, and we're comfortable. And the Lord has blessed. How the Lord has blessed, and I kind of kicked myself this morning. Didn't want to get out of bed when the Lord woke me up and said, "It's time to go to work, boy." And I come up here to my office and found out I left the heat on last night. And I was fretting running the heat just what time I was going to be up here, and I forgot it on all night. Matter of fact, I forgot it on half a day yesterday and all night. And so probably cost me a $10 bill, but the Lord will provide that. Here we are back in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and we're talking about charity never fails. That's love. And we were in verse 8. Now verse 9 says, "For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away with. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." Now, I talked a few minutes ago in the last excerpt about becoming a baby Christian, saying, "Jesus, I believe I'm a sinner. Forgive me of my sin. Come in my heart and save my soul." And at that point, you become a baby Christian. Well, when you become a baby Christian, then you need to start growing. And what did he say? He said, "When I knew in part." Well, you know in part. The part you know is just you're a baby Christian. You've asked Jesus. You don't really know what you did. Do I really know what I did the day I got saved? No, not really. I didn't really understand it until a little while later when I began to grow. And what I knew in part, I had to learn to grow in. It said, "But when that which is perfect is come." Now I have the perfect one in me, Jesus Christ. He is in me now. And because he's in me now, I need to learn how to follow him. That perfect one has come in. And now I know what was in part is now in fullness. And so I got to learn some things. I've got to learn kindness. Did I know kindness before I was saved? I knew somewhat what kindness was, but kindness was not what it needed to be. Kindness is love. Love. This dog understands love. This little dog right here, he understands love. He loves to be loved. Oh, and get his neck scratched and his ears rubbed, and he loves to be loved. Well, you know, people are the same way. They love to be loved too. And you have to love on people. In order to be right with the Lord, you have to love on people. People are what God made. God made man to worship him. Now, we never need to act rashly. Be careful. Be careful how you act. Be careful how you act. If you act rashly or quickly on a situation and start running your mouth before you see the whole matter or think about it, you're going to hurt somebody. You're not only going to hurt your own testimony, but you're going to hurt somebody. And Jesus never hurt anybody. Jesus told the scribes and Pharisees, he said, "You white as sepulchres. You wash your Your outside of your pot and the inside of it's full of dead man's bones. But he didn't act rational about that. He just told them that was the truth. And he said it. And you need to see that, he's saying. And they got mad about it. But right here, we need to be careful now. Love in action never acts rationally. I've had to practice that. I'm here to tell you right now, I'm sitting under a preacher that practices that. He knows how to practice that. Do you know, very, 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 very few people really know how to practice that statement right there and not act rational. Something happens to them and they jump up and down and say, well, if that happened to me, this is what I would do. Well, what you would do is rational, and if you do something rational, you're going to be hurt somebody. So you got to be careful you don't do something rational in life as you go through life. Be careful. And that's where we started out talking about love doesn't puff up. Love is true kindness. It never acts rationally. It's not insulting. Love is not insulting. And now, we got to be careful, because I've done that. My wife said, you insulted that person. You need to be careful. And so we need to be careful we don't insult somebody. And love is not inconsistent. Love is a consistent, unbroken thing. It runs straight and true. Do you know the Bible said that broad is the way to destruction, but narrow is the way to heaven. And the road of righteousness is a narrow road. And on that narrow road is this thing called love. And love is driven by not being proud. Not being too proud to love those who have a problem that you probably had. Think about it. Every problem you meet is one you probably had one day. And if you didn't have it, you may have it. I'll guarantee you, if you make a wrong judgment, it will come around and eat you alive. Because you're going to find yourself doing the same thing that you're judging somebody else for. Judge not lest you be judged, the Bible said. And that's what it's talking about there. He's not talking about not judging at all. He's saying make a righteous judgment when you make it. And say, well, that person's doing right there. If that's what you're looking at, another person. And if that's what they're doing right there, what do you think would keep you from doing that maybe this afternoon or tomorrow or the next day or next week? And you make that judgment, and then a month later, you find yourself doing the same exact thing you judged harshly about with somebody else. So now you got to judge yourself. By the way, when we come down to this love business, Jesus loves us unconditionally. Do you know that we probably let him down more than anybody we see lets us down? Think about it. Think about God putting up with you. I had a man say to me this week, he said, you know, this matter of forgiving, I saw in the Bible where Jesus said, in the Beatitudes there, that you had to forgive a man 70 times 7, which is 490 times. And do you know what that scripture finished saying? It said, if a brother sinned against you 490 times in one day, forgive him. Wow. If you got somebody that just pulls your chain, just irks you to death, and you don't forgive them, you got problem.